Brent, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for being with us.
I'll leave you with this thought, Steve. As bad as the NFL or any organization could be at times, it's still always better than the NCAA.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It's so funny. Like, I felt the way you feel about the NCAA is how I felt about the NFL. Is that, yeah, they play, but, it's weird. No, I actually agree with you now. The NFL, at least when they play, the records matter, the games matter. The NCAA, you have no idea.
They make it up as they go along, and it just opens up to every type of discrepancy, every type of just improper outcome. And again, what happened to FSU, it's borderline criminal. But again, there's the NCAA for you.
Brett Tessler, the agent of the Stars. He's anticipating something good happening. When the phone rings, he's not necessarily thinking that, it's the IRS, we're demanding our money. Take a brighter view of life. Although it would be difficult at this stage to accept these circumstances if you happen to be. And it's a shame, too, really, because we can say this from our own experience, limited as it may be with Mike Norvell, a guy that you despised when he was named the head coach. You thought this was a giant mistake.
Yes, I didn't like the pick. I didn't despise him. I didn't like
what did he ever do?
Yep.
This is too big of a job for him. I mean, we may as well have just stuck with Willie Taggart.
And guess what?
Going 5-7 every year. Yes.
He won games, and I changed my opinion, right? Because when the games get played, as a human being, you have an opinion based on the games that are played, not the way you felt before them, right? So I demonstrated what you thought sports were. You may assume something. You may pick Oregon over Washington. But if Washington then beats Oregon, oh, wow, I guess Washington's better than I thought. That was my opinion of Mike Norvell. I didn't like him, but they've won games. He won me over. I guess that's not the way the committee sees college football.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and one Mike Lubitz getting you started on a Peel Yourself Off the Mat Monday, a Monday where the Dolphins did not play on Sunday. They're involved in an odd thing tonight. We'd have to check with Jim Sarney about the rationale behind this. He's our resident TV critic and, of course, always giving us observations about this show. Hey, how about some more women's junior varsity volleyball? You guys are ignoring a great sport. I had to remind him that women were paired up with men in a golf tournament in Naples. I don't think Jim was catching any Lydia Ko and Jason Day winning that championship yesterday. But nonetheless, no Dolphin game. And so we have moved John Kajemi in a pigskin playbook. Well, we didn't do it. John couldn't make it today anyway. But he's going to be on with us tomorrow with the pigskin playbook, and we'll have a review of the Miami Dolphins game against the Tennessee Titans, which takes place tonight. But the thing that we have to call in Sarney for, I guess Mike Mayo brought this up on Friday, which he's absolutely right. I didn't realize this. You're thinking there are two games scheduled for Monday Night Football. The Dolphins game, which naturally be of great interest to us here locally, and Green Bay and the Giants going at it. Both games, however, are set for an 8:15 kickoff, Lubie, 8:15 kickoff. What would be the rationale behind that? There's no way to stagger these games. One's on ABC, the other's on ESPN. Now, both networks are owned by the same entity, the Disney people, so they're going to make money either way. But what would be the reasoning if you're going to have a Monday Night Football game to schedule two Monday Night Football games at precisely the same time? Does that make any sense to you?
No, that's the thing is I know early in the year they'll do a couple weeks where they'll do this, but they haven't done it all year. Why now are they doing two at the same time? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the rationale? Nothing was canceled or anything. So, like, what are they doing? Like, I don't get, like, the Dolphins, Titans, I guess, is it that it's regional? Like, I don't understand. I don't know what they're doing. I don't get it at all. I haven't seen an explanation anywhere. I haven't seen it discussed. Like, I'm really confused.
Seems kind of odd. I mean, you would think maybe they would have scheduled some West Coast teams, Green Bay and the Giants, pretty much. I mean, Green Bay is what, a central time zone? And so what, hour differential? Even if they staggered a game so one started an hour later, it would make more sense. I guess, what, is that game in New York? The New York Giants. The only thing I know about the game outside of the fact that it starts at 8:15 is that the Giants are getting 6.5.
Yeah, it's in Jersey. This
Okay.
is so it's all the same time. Like I don't get it at all. I don't get what they're doing.
Kind of weird. I mean, you would think maybe they start one game at 7 o'clock and the other one at 8:30, even. So you catch the first half, then you get a little overlap. But I don't know. I would imagine that most of the interest of the people that are following this show would be squarely focused on the Miami Dolphins and their chance to go to 10-3. The Ravens made it to 10-3 yesterday, albeit in a difficult circumstance, as the Rams seemed to have them all the way on their heels. And the Ravens kept bouncing back in that ball game. They eventually got the game into overtime and then won it on a punt return after the Rams had the first possession in overtime. Didn't do anything with it, punted the ball away, and goes back 76 yards by a guy, Wallace, who had made a previous, just egregious error on a special teams play and had cost the Ravens some points in the game. Nobody cost anybody more points than what is it? Kadarius Toney?
Yeah, yep. Kadarius Toney, yeah, former Gator.
Wow. A bust with the Giants. He got a big free agent contract with the New York Giants and didn't do anything. And they finally let him go. He goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, who were really kind of feeble in the wide receiver department this year. And you could see evidence of that because Mahomes exhibited his frustration. Now, he was frustrated with the officials for making that call, Louis. Did you see this play? You must have seen it a million times.
Yeah, look, it worked out great. Very heads up play by Kelsey to throw it to he threw it to Toney, actually. And
Threw it back to Toney, who was just kind of wallowing over there on the other side of the field and already kind of given up on the play.
Yeah, well, it was done, but it was a great call by Kelsey. Great play by Kelsey, but Toney was standing off sides. Like, why is he standing on the line? You can see where the ball is. Like, it was a fucking dumbass play.
Really stupid, yeah.
Yeah, it was just dumb. I know what Mahomes was mad about. It's like, don't call that thing that was clearly illegal.
Andy Reid, too, Rudy was not as much offsides as Kadarius Toney was on that play. I still, literally was carried out of the theater screaming, "It's offsides, for God's sake. When are you guys going to make a call against Notre Dame?" What a joke, right? I even hated Notre Dame in the Rooney movie. That's how bad it is. That's how deep rooted it is. Anyway, yeah. So that erases a touchdown. Mahomes is screaming. He had to be restrained practically after the game. Came out and criticized the officials for not issuing. Is that common when a guy on offense is offsides? I've never seen that.
They started doing that this year. Supposedly, I was watching a game like last week where they brought it up. They're like, wow, this is something they're really targeting this year, offsides on offense. And I was like,
but supposedly they give you a warning. That was what they were complaining about. Andy Reid was also complaining about that after the game, that they didn't issue a warning first and say, hey, you're lined up offsides.
Yeah, they're supposed to. Yeah, what game was it where they tried to tell the guy and then they called it offsides and they were all pissed. So what, they're supposed to be like, hey, you're offsides. And the guy's like, oh, thanks, sir.
Oh, thank you. I'll back up a step.
Like, I don't understand that at all. Why is that? Okay, protocol. They don't do it for the defense. They're not like, hey.
Wouldn't that be a false start, though, if the guy moved back? I guess he could, but it seemed odd that they were looking for a warning from the officials. Is that really something that the officials are supposed to do? That sounds very Tim Donaghy-esque, right? Hey, you better move back an inch. I'm going to have to call you for being offsides.
Yeah, it sounds weird.
Kind of strange. Anyway, they were furious, and now they fall to 8-5. The Kansas City Chiefs, who have not been lighting it up this year. I mean, you refuse to, put into the dictionary the explosivity, my friend. You don't want to acknowledge that as a word, explosivity.
Is that a word? That sounds like
is that a poor substitute for explosiveness?
Yes, you would just say I would just say explosive.
Explosiveness, explosivity.
That's not a word.
It's not a word, really. Look that up, Lubie. Explosivity. See if you can find anything under Matt, did they use that word in Oppenheimer?
Being explosive. It is.
It is a word.
Like it's a word, but I don't know.
I think it's a great word, man. I mean, call me Mike Mayock, call me whatever you want. Making up new terminology, but they don't have that explosivity that they've had in the past. The Kansas City Chiefs. That seems readily apparent. Trailing in a lot of games. I mean, it was the usual thing where they're saying, "Oh, geez, like a minute 20 left. Who better to have the ball than Patrick Mahomes?" That may be true. I mean, Mahomes has been brilliant. That time he won that ball game with 13 seconds to go. Remember that? Did he take it into overtime that game, or he won the ball game outright? Remember, he got the ball with like 13 seconds, and they were backed up in their own territory, and somehow he managed to throw 2 passes, and the Chiefs came out on top. But when you're depending on miracles and miraculous finishes, you're going to find out that it doesn't always work. And it didn't in this case, in spite of the fact that had Tony been on sides, that play, I mean, it made no difference in the outcome of the play. The fact that his foot was on the line, because he wasn't even involved in the play at the very beginning, except that Kelsey used. I mean, what prompted him to do that? It was not a hook and lateral play. This wasn't Don Shula, trying to score against the San Diego Chargers back in the day when they had that classic, what was that, double overtime, triple overtime game? I think I left that game at halftime. No, I remember being on the sidelines for that thing. That was crazy. As Kellen Winslow, remember? That was the classic picture. I mean, you talk about a warrior where he's got the 2 guys. He has to lean on his shoulder. He's got the towel on his head. You could not have been any more gassed than this guy was in that ball game. And yet, it was, Tony Nathan was the recipient of the hook and lateral. Daryl Harris, I think, caught the pass and lateral to Tony Nathan, a trick play devised by the great Don Shula. And it worked, and it triggered and ignited the Dolphins offense, which was kind of laying there dormant until that time, and triggered the eventual shootout that took place in that classic game. But this was not planned, was it? I mean, this was just an arbitrary I mean, you had Kelsey just improvising on the fly there. Throws the ball to Tony, goes in for the touchdown. Looks like the Chiefs are going to have the lead by 4 points with about a minute to go in the ball game, and it's possible the Bills could have come back and won the thing, but instead they end up frustratingly throwing the ball away on a 4th down play, and that was that. It was all over. Kadarius Toney, who was always a disaster, it seemed. I mean, it made more money than you can imagine. I think, what did he catch? Like 1 pass as a New York Giant, Kadarius Toney. They were very happy to get rid of this guy. That was just part of the action from around the league and part of the action on the sporting world. So we have the Dolphin game to look forward to tonight. What are you thinking there, Lubie? The line is up to 14 now. The Miami Dolphins should be partying very early on in this ball game. Tua Tagovailoa having a sensational season. The Dolphins offense looks to be as much in sync as you would hope them to be at this point in the year. The defense was coming together in spite of some injuries. And yet, offensive line is still a little suspect. A couple of guys banged up, Lubie. Armstead going to be out for this ballgame?
I think Hunt's back, and I think you have Williams. I think you have everyone but Armstead, which is what you've had all year. I mean, the Armstead deal turned out to be another disaster, but in his place, Austin Jackson turned into possibly a Pro Bowl player at right tackle. Hunt's one of the best right guards in the league, and Connor Williams is a top 3 center in the league. So it's actually sort of worked out. Their new offensive line coach is a freaking mastermind. Look, this game, it should go to script. I mean, the Titans are not good. Both sides of the Titans defensively don't suck, but they're not good, and their offense is a disaster. Like the Dolphins on both sides of the ball are really getting into form. A-Chain looked like A-Chain last week was starting to really take over in the second half, and their offense is very different with him. As much as people don't want to say it, it is. Like, he is another gear faster than Mostert, and is a different kind of running back than Mostert. He attacks in a way that Mostert doesn't. Their offense is it's almost impossible to stop them when you have A-Chain with Waddle, with Hill, and then Mostert as well. The offense is scary, and the line's been way better. I just don't like those spreads in the NFL. Like, as we
14 points, man. Seattle covered like a 13 and a half point spread yesterday, barely.
I mean, the way teams are scoring now, the way Tua will throw the careless, stupid-ass interception on a throw that he shouldn't be making. I don't know. That's a weird spread. I think the Dolphins will win, and they should be comfortable. But 14, by game time, it might be even higher. I don't know. That's a lot. That's just a lot.
Could be a blowout. I don't know. I liked Will Levis for one game. And then he, reverted back to being a backup quarterback that was not starting ahead of Ryan Tannehill to begin the season. But he has sort of regressed back into being that. We shall see what happens. Green Bay has been surging a little bit in the other game. Jim Sarney says that this is commonplace, that you should get the red zone, that people flip back and forth all the time. That is true. I mean, you're watching a couple of ball games at once, but I don't think on a Monday night that's exactly the position that you want to be in. You're figuring you're going to zero in on one classic matchup. There was always until what ABC lost the rights and ESPN started televising. Well, that's kind of weird since it's all the same company. But yeah, when Monday Night Football went to ESPN, that they part of the reason I think for the decline wasn't so much the announcers in the booth, which they were fishing around for a combination forever, and finally settled on giving Troy Aikman and Joe Buck $10 million apiece to broadcast a ball game that they offer up a competitive broadcast, which most people find more favorable with the Manning cast, which will be in play tonight. Also, I would imagine. So that'll be carried on two different networks, and the other game on the other Disney channel. So not Disney Channel, but Disney Network. So I guess it makes sense. I don't know. Sonny says that's been planned forever. This was no mistake.
I haven't heard about it. You hadn't heard about it all year, and then out of nowhere it was just there. So I guess I don't know. We'll see. It feels like the Dolphins game is the one that people are going to watch, but the Packers are playing better. I guess.
Green Bay's now playing pretty decent football. They have aspirations of maybe making the postseason. The Green Bay Packers at this point, and the Giants suck, but they have that story going with Tommy DeVito, which has some interest. Although his enormous output of 10 points in his last game, which turned out to be a victory. It's not exactly like the kind of stuff that stimulates you to think, hey, geez, you know what? I don't think I'll watch the Dolphin game tonight. I'll go ahead and watch and see if Tommy DeVito can put 14 on the board and the Giants can get within 6.5 of the Green Bay Packers. Gives you something to do during the commercials if they don't coincide. Which has I remember when I had the NFL ticket, Lubie, did you ever buy or purchase the NFL ticket?
No.
I figured I could use it as a tax write-off anyway, and it was like $400 at the time. I don't know what it goes for now, the NFL ticket. Now, you get every NFL game. My rationale was, A, I was probably in action on most of those games, and B, I figured it would be a good thing from the standpoint of the job that we do to be able to make these kind of observations all across the board and not have to leave the house, go to a sports bar where, let's face it, are you really focused when you're watching a game in a sports bar? I guess people zero in on one game. Everybody goes to their screen. Me, I'm all over the place, and wondering, hey, is there any way to get out of here at halftime? But the NFL ticket, it seemed like, and this would be impossible to design, but it seemed like, Lubie, that as the game that you might have been watching and most interested in was in a commercial, as you started to flip around to the other channels, the other 7 games were all in a commercial at the same time. So it's not like the NBA where they have, the automatic media, timeouts so that you're going to end up playing a bunch of spots on the broadcast. College basketball does it as well. But it was weird. I don't know. Did anybody find that? Was it just purely coincidental that the one year that I went ahead and sprung for the NFL ticket, that almost every time as I was flipping away from a game that went to commercial, almost all of the other games were in a commercial break as well. Pretty weird how they're able to do that. So, we'll see how that works out tonight. Should be a lot of fun. A couple of other things besides football also taking place Saturday, and this was weird. I guess this happened via an email. The announcement was made that was sent out to anybody who might be interested in the fact that Shohei Ohtani ended up signing with the Dodgers. Now, that loomed as the most logical possibility, did it not? I guess San Francisco was a consideration. Huge Japanese contingent there. L.A., as I recall, was largely an Asian population as well, or had a massive Asian population base.
Yep.
So you know that, and he was essentially, Anaheim and L.A. are really two different animals, Louis. Even though it's only about a 45-minute or half-hour differential, probably takes you 7 hours to get there now. But I think geographically, it's like a 45-minute differential. Two different worlds, though, completely different worlds. A bastion of conservatism down there in Orange County, California. A lot of very wealthy people. I don't know that. Are they rabid baseball fans? Not to the extent that they are in Los Angeles, but $700 million, and people are becoming accustomed to these kind of deals, more so than being outraged or thinking, "Oh my God, what possible money could an athlete be worth?" This is one time. I don't know if it's one time, but you're often wondering, where does all of this money come from in Major League Baseball? You're looking at a lot of empty ballparks, but it isn't driven by ticket revenue so much, although you would imagine every Dodger game will be a sellout from now on. But they pretty much were anyway. The Dodger tickets were always at a premium, even when they didn't have great teams. They're still very well supported. In fact, it's maybe is it true of New York? Are the Yankees the biggest team in New York? Yankees. What would be the biggest team in New York? And what would you say? Are the Mets second, or would the New York Football Giants be the second biggest team, or the Knicks?
The Knicks. It's not even close. The Yankees.
So you go Yankees, Knicks.
It's Yankees, Knicks. Yeah, then I don't know. Then I think it's a mishmash. Giants, I guess the Giants, because they've had a lot of success.
The Jets have been bad for too long to be considered, the premium must-see, and must-attend event. Yeah, but in LA, I would say, yeah, absolutely. And the Lakers with LeBron would give them a little bit of a run for their money, but the Dodgers would still reign supreme, would they not? LA Dodger baseball in Los Angeles. I remember being amazed at how well supported that team was constantly, and people are always talking about it. Mention it many times. You'd be on the freeways in Los Angeles anytime in the evening, and people weren't as reliant on air conditioning there because it was usually cooler at night. So a lot of people were doing the old Jim Manage thing, riding around with their windows down. And you would hear Vin Scully pouring out of virtually every car radio. I mean, the people were riveted to Dodger baseball. I would always catch the 3 innings that Jerry Doggett was doing for some reason. It wasn't quite. I mean, imagine being the second banana to Vin Scully. It's tough because the guy probably was a very competent announcer, but nobody remembers him. And so you'd hear Scully, though, blaring out of virtually every car radio and in unison. I mean, you'd be stuck in traffic and you'd hear 30 radios across the highway playing the Dodger game. They have so much rabid interest. I would imagine they'll end up making money on this deal. What, maybe 2-3-fold the $700 million they laid out over 10 years? And who knows? I mean, what the fate of Ohtani will be across 10 years. We often how old is Ohtani now? He was in Japan for a long
29.
time.
29. I think it's still stupid.
It's a Pujols kind of deal.
Yeah, I think it's dumb as fuck. Well, and Pujols had never been injured. Pujols magically got injured the minute he stepped in an Angels uniform. Ohtani's been injured his entire career. I think it's a fucking dumb deal. I think it's just dumb. Like, he's already 29. He's already had 2 major injuries. There's already talk where he's not going to pitch. So you're just getting a hitter. So, like,
well, he's not going to pitch this year.
No,
because he had Tommy John.
But the talk is he may eventually move sooner than later out of it. Because,
get out of here.
Yeah. He can't keep pitching. Like, he's already had Tommy John twice.
Yeah.
Like, how many times can you have Tommy John? Like, I mean,
he may as well just beat Tommy John at this point, right?
I just don't get these 10-year deals. You have to pay it out. This isn't football.
No.
Like, you're going to be
getting every dime in his money.
Years. Like, I don't get what they're doing. I guess he was you'll make your money with TV revenue and this and that, but did he really get people to watch Angel games? Like, baseball is not like the other sports. Like, I don't know anyone that ran to the TVs to watch fucking Shohei Ohtani. If anyone would ever get people to watch, it would be him.
I would say he was an attraction. Yeah, I enjoyed it whenever the Angels were on TV. I mean, what's funny is the Angels also have Mike Trout, who unfortunately has been injured and would be among right up there with Acuna and a couple of others. The most compelling guys to watch in Major League Baseball. But I mean, it was always exciting. Was it just the hype? No, the guy hit 44 home runs last year.
He's a great player.
He didn't play the last month of the season.
He's an attraction. He's still doesn't bring any eyeballs. The ratings were a fucking disaster for baseball. I don't know anyone that watched even the World Series. Like, I'm sorry. I think these deals are stupid. And the fact that organizations haven't, and I get it. Okay, at least he's different. He's Ohtani. Okay, a 10-year deal. Dude that's 29 has already had 2 major injuries. I don't get it. I just think it's how much it's the Dodgers. You're going to bring revenue in. Like, the Dodgers don't have a problem bringing in revenue. Like,
no, I mean their marketing will be off the chart in Japan. Can you imagine?
That's the reason. That's why he gets that extra 100 because it's been around 500. That's why he gets that extra 200 is because he's going to from day one worldwide bring it in a way that even the Japanese like the Dodgers. It's not. It's like like it's just different. That combination, the Japanese guy with the Dodgers, I get it. It's just $700 million for a guy that's 29. The 10-year deal thing is what gets me. Like, none of these deals pan out after year 4. These guys, this is your, like, in baseball, they've shown like after age 30 or 31, it's all downhill. Like unless you're Bonds or Clemens, like everyone else, their best years are in the mid to late 20s. You're getting him at his worst years. Like
So you're saying possibly, and it's maybe true, Libby. You might be onto something. That the Otani deal could look worse in terms of money spent to productivity than the Giancarlo Stanton deal did when the Yankees took that just load on, as it turned out, that the Marlins had set up, and he ended up getting paid $300 million to bat like a $197 and hit a handful of home runs. He had a couple of decent stretches, and that's it. Otani, yeah, you would have to think. I mean, you're on your second Tommy John surgery. You would have to think somewhat suspect, no? And as you said, if he's not going to pitch, that takes a lot of the allure away from Otani. I mean, you have a lot of guys that are dynamite hitters in Major League Baseball, maybe not quite at that level where he could have easily hit 50 home runs this season. But yeah, $700 million. Our good buddy Joe Casale, he outlined the reasons why this is a monetary success for the Dodgers. That you don't have to worry about a thing, and that there's no correlation to ticket prices and the amount of money that teams are spending. You would think the Dodger organization is fairly competent when it came to doing the math on this kind of contract, and that they weren't throwing money away. But yeah, $700 million for 10 years, $70 million a year for 10 years. An incredible contract, just barely eclipsing, by the way, what Messi was getting paid by Barcelona, I think.
That's crazy.
Yeah. John Rahm just got $600 million from the Live Tour, for Christ's sake. Nobody watches that. You talk about television ratings. Are you going to start? I don't even know where to find the CW on my TV. Do you? What channel is that?
I mean, I've watched FSU had a game, the North Alabama game, I think it was CW. But I don't know. I do I have an app, so I don't really watch any channel. I just watch whatever the fuck pops up. I mean, the money in sports is crazy, I guess. I don't know. I don't care what people get paid. I don't criticize your yearly salary. I just think these 10-year deals are just
10-year deal for a guy that's almost 30. I mean, think about it. You used to figure a guy was finished at 35 in Major League Baseball. Now athletes are playing longer. If you watched the interview last night, did you catch the 60 Minutes thing with Novak Djokovic?
I heard it was on. I didn't watch it on.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine I would have liked to have seen them go into even more depth with Novak Djokovic, but I mean, you could consider him to be, I mean, in tennis, certainly the greatest of all time. Could he be among the top 5 athletes of all time, Novak Djokovic, in terms of accomplishment, domination of a sport? And now it's funny because they showed some clips of him when he was going against like a young Federer or Nadal, and unrecognizable Djokovic. But to be doing what he's doing at 36 years old, he came within an eyelash of winning the Grand Slam last year. Finals a loss in a 5-set bloodbath to Carlos Alcaraz. Otherwise, he wins the Grand Slam last year, which is pretty incredible. As you look at him and LeBron James competing in the same time frame, wow. I mean, and talk about playing for money, Lubie. You don't think that LeBron James had the look on his face like he was in Game 7 of the NBA championship when he took the court for this in-season tournament? And why is that? Because even if there's $1 on the line, you're going to bring out the competitive nature like you never have before. But phenomenal numbers. If you look at his numbers in those 7 tournament games,
he hasn't dipped off at all. The problem is he's now in the place where he get injured. Where like before he never got injured, even he gets injured now. Like that's the only difference in him. His numbers are the same. His numbers aren't
gone. Yeah.
It said he does finally get injured. Where that's the only sign of age he has. Like the rest of it, like the fact that there's an argument between him and Jordan is just dumb. Because Jordan literally retired. Jordan retired twice and still played less. Jordan retired twice and played like half the. Did Jordan play 10 years? Did he play 12? Like I don't even know if Jordan played 12 years in the NBA with 2 retirements. LeBron's playing over 20 years with 0 retirements and 0 fall off. Like the fact that anyone argues is just dumb. You can hate or like both, play, do whatever you want. What LeBron's done is there's no player in any sport ever. Satchel Paige didn't fucking do it.
Satchel Paige. No, good. Yeah, you look at it, it is phenomenal. It's amazing. But you could probably make a case, I mean, that both Djokovic and LeBron James, I mean, top 5 is a very narrow field, Louis, but top 5 athletes of all time, would you put Djokovic in there? And certainly you would have to consider LeBron James on that list.
They're up there, yeah.
if not the greatest, of all time. And I'm not just saying that. I'm a big LeBron fan. I don't love every aspect of what he does, but you would have to say for the amount of attention that he's drawn in his lifetime, he's been pretty exemplary.
I think it's impressive for all the fact that, like, he had one of the rare careers that was all in the social media era.
Yeah.
He never got popped. Never got caught cheating, never got caught doing anything that every human does. Every human does.
Yes.
Never got a text to some chick. Like, never, like.
No room full of hookers like Magic and James Worthy had when they were traveling with the Lakers.
Nothing. He's at his kids' games. He's like, his kids don't hate him. It's freaking weird. Like, all of them had Jordan. They all had moments.
Oscar De La Hoya, he comes out of a room dressed like a woman. I mean, Marv Albert.
College shit where he fucked around with that doctor that became a big, like, LeBron from youth to adulthood never had any slip up. The China stuff. Okay, but everyone does what they got to do to get money.
Right.
We all defend weird sources for money. Like, just no criminal actions, no impropriety. It's just crazy. Like, I'm not even that big a LeBron fan, but I give him credit. No slip ups at all in this era where there's a camera on him 100% of the
Constantly, time. Yeah. I mean, you're even looking at what was a pretty touching thing when he was taking video on his phone of Bronny, who came back for USC over the weekend.
Yeah, he played
had
well.
The whole family there. Had brought the family out to Las Vegas for this in-season tournament. It couldn't have been any more of a flag bearer for the in-season tournament. LeBron James, just the look on his face before that game was like, it reminded me of the days when you used to decide to play punch ball for money back in my youth in Brooklyn, and all of a sudden you're playing for like $1 a man. And the game took on a vitality that we had never been able to switch on before. Playing for money was what happens? You're playing one-on-one with a guy, and he decides. Have you ever done this? Where your buddy goes, "Hey, let's play for money, $10 a game."
I never did money.
Never?
No, me and my people didn't think like that.
Changes everything, Lubie. Changes everything. All right, so we're coming back with more. We'll be with you for a while longer here on the Defo Show. John Congemi will join us tomorrow with the Pigskin Playbook, and we'll get some analysis on the Dolphins-Tennessee game, which goes tonight. Kicks off at 8:15, along with Green Bay and the New York Giants. The Heat been struggling lately. Lost, 3 out of 5, Lubie? And the Cats have won 3 in a row. The Panthers have won 3 in a row in the NHL. And right there, boom, knocking on the door with the Boston Bruins, who got off to such a phenomenal start once again. I think the Panthers are 3 points behind.
They're playing really well. The Heat, but again, Bam hasn't played in 2 weeks, and Hero hasn't played in a month.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to weather this injury storm, and they're still hovering around the top 6.
12-10 on the season right now.
That's all right.
But losers of 3 out of 5. Jimmy Butler had an awful game the other night.
It was horrible the other day.
Oh, my God. He was like 2 for 100 and, just didn't seem to be into it at all. As the Heat went down in that game, to the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Is that it, Cleveland?
Yeah, they lost by double digits. Was it Friday or Thursday?
It was ugly. Yeah, I watched some of that game. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:36. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodzi, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodzi, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Hear me! I am your new president. From this day on, the official language of San Marcos will be Swedish. Silence! In addition to that, all citizens will be required to change their underwear every half hour. Underwear will be worn on the outside so we can check. Furthermore, all children under 16 years old are now 16 years old.
What's the Spanish word for straitjacket?
Power has driven him mad.
Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. By the way, I guess we're 2 weeks away from Christmas Day, right? It'll be Monday, 2 weeks from now. It's today, December 11th. Yes. Trying to do the math on that. And so I don't know. Are you involved in any kind of heavy duty? You're Jewish, I mean, but Shirley isn't.
My wife is insane. What do you mean? We went to a fucking holiday parade or Christmas parade. It was Christmas. There was nothing Hanukkah about it. Christmas parade in Delray this weekend. She has me going with a big ass 100-foot tree. She has me going to some place next week where they do tin roof in Fort Lauderdale, but they have some kind of a Christmas store inside. They do Christmas drinks. I don't know. Yes, Shirley and her family are insane. Like my family, we do Hanukkah, but like we just celebrate the kids. Like my sister's kids get gifts, and then we do latkes or whatever. And her family, like the adults get together and do gifts, and they all are like little kids. We have to watch everyone open their gift and celebrate, even though they all give a list. And they also can, because of Amazon, you can track what's bought on the list. So you literally know what you're getting before you open the gift. But they're all like, oh my God, I didn't know. You didn't know. You made me buy you this.
It was like Alabama getting a bid to go to the Final Four there in college football. No, the Qatar getting the FIFA World Cup bid for 2024. Yes, I do
lots of Christmas. There's lots of, we have the tree, it's a whole thing. Yes, they go.
It seems like everybody, we had Don McLean. The reason I bring this up, Lubie, is we were getting some messages there from Miss Robin of the Tony Bruno Sports Network, and of course with Tony Bruno.
So maybe I was going to ask you after this. I don't know what the fuck any of that meant.
I believe that they're going to be, infusing Christmas music into our Tony Bruno radio show instead of what was the bottom of the hour break.
So we just let it play. Like I'm confused. Like
chestnuts roasted on an open fire. But we had Don McLean on the show. One of those deals that Lubie is connected with through his various PR relationships with companies that every now and then they throw you a guest that you really want. And so you go ahead and you throw a couple of what would have been. Well, we always have fun with these people anyway. And McLean turned out to be a very delightful guy, probably responsible for one of the most hideous things that could ever get stuck in your head. Although you like the song, right?
I love this song. You have a weird relationship with American Pie.
It's a horrible song.
I love this.
Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Right? Took my Chevy to the levee because the Vega engine died. Yeah, because you were just going to throw it right into the banks of the river there. Right? What are you talking about? Just let it go right off the cliff. Like you were Matthew McConaughey trying to sell Lincoln Continentals. But, just an infusion of Christmas music into the show and a proliferation of what's going on in the Christmas music industry. It must be worth a fortune. I don't know. Well, when a guy, it's like the Rolling Stones put out a Christmas album, are you going to buy it? No, who cares? So McLean was pushing a Christmas album. That's why he came on the show. He's talked about Bye Bye Miss American Pie for 50 years. I mean, how much more can you milk that thing? Although,
you've done well.
Wow.
Milk the shit out of it. It's in movies.
Worst song to get stuck in your head, Bye Bye Miss American Pie or You Light Up My Life, Debbie Boone, who we also spoke with about the very same thing.
Yeah, the Debbie Boone one's the one. American Pie I like, and I don't mind it. The Debbie Boone one, and she agreed with you, which I appreciated.
Yes.
That
it's annoying.
It's rough.
Yeah. You light up my life. life.
It's very soapy. And
Fuck. What are you talking about?
no one makes you feel that way in real life.
Yeah, imagine you're on your knees and you're singing to this woman that has stimulated you to a point that you never imagined you were capable of going to. You light up my life. No, you don't, man. Usually it's like you may as well just be, it's not like, it isn't like you're putting water on a fire, man. I mean, what are you talking about? Just dousing the flame of what burns inside me and making me feel like it wasn't even worth living anymore. Huh? Why doesn't somebody write a song about that? Well, there's a whole genre about it. It's called the blues. But even the blues are more uplifting than You Light Up My Life. The most down home, soulful blues song doesn't get you into a mood that You Light Up My Life does. All right, so that wins easily, right? The song you don't want stuck in your head?
Yes.
Over Bye Miss American Pie?
Outside of you, I haven't heard too many people criticize that song. It actually has like a place in most people's hearts. You Light Up My Life. It's fine. It's a good song, and I get it. It's just
you want to light your house on fire if it plays a couple of times.
all right.
I feel that way about most Christmas music. I don't know about you, Lubie. Are you a big fan of Christmas music?
I
or
actually love it. I do actually like it.
It's overdone. I mean, it's overblown, like a lot of things.
Problem. I like the day of Christmas, Christmas Eve, maybe even into New Year's. That week is turned into like just a vacation for everyone.
Yeah.
Here, I think we're barely doing shows that week. Cool. But like people will start playing it.
I need like 2 weeks off after this
People
show.
will
What are you
start
talking
playing it like November 21st. I'm like, no. Like, why are we playing a month?
Oh, yeah. That's, getting into it too soon is also a big problem. I did like that song, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. That was a good one, right?
Yes,
Is that considered Christmas music?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, that's
okay.
A song, yes.
Because I always like the smell of chestnuts roasting on an open fire, which you used to get in New York if you were walking around the streets of New York. I don't know if they do that anymore. Roasted chestnuts?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I
They
was
do, yeah.
in New York in the wintertime during COVID, and it was really cool. I had never seen it because I'm from here, and you had like the chestnuts like on the street. Like
some decrepit looking guy that looked like, he was just barely above being homeless at that point. It might have been, like I've been minding the grill, and he would have these gloves on that looked like he had just changed the oil in his car, and was handling the food with that. But it still was great, man. I think it enhanced the flavor, to have this guy with the greasy gloves, just slobbering all over the stuff that you were about to eat, and they were great too. They actually were. I mean, a little bit of a hassle, right, to eat a roasted chestnut.
Yeah, it's like a pain in the ass.
You gotta what do you crack them with your teeth? How the hell do you get into it? I'm not sure, but I don't remember the technique of eating a roasted chestnut, but I do remember that when you finally got to the meat of the matter, Lubie, it's kind of like a stone crab. It was really good.
Great. Yeah, it's great.
The people that drill stone crabs with like a sledgehammer, are they wasting like the whole trip? I mean, when the shells are splattering in your eyeballs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's ugly. All right. Well, anyway, so everybody has a Christmas album out now. That was the point of this whole thing, Libby.
Yes, that's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Everybody, I mean, who is it? The woman that Jeter used to date, Mariah Carey. Isn't that funny that's how you remember her? Never mind her musical accomplishments. You only remember her because she dated Jeter, which puts her in a category with about 150,000 others. But so she was like the queen of the Christmas album of stars that have resurrected their careers through a Christmas record. Now, McLean, are you inclined to run out and buy his Christmas album, Don McLean, or would you be thinking, Jesus, it's just as likely that I'll have that hideous song stuck on my head then for another 6 months. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. But like rappers are coming out with Christmas albums now. Have you seen this? Like, everybody has a Christmas album. It's insane. How much Christmas music is going to be on the market? They have flooded the market with Christmas albums, Libby. If you don't have a Christmas album out, I don't think you're relevant as a musician anymore. Does Taylor Swift have a Christmas album out?
Probably, I would know for sure. If anyone did one, it would be her. 100%. She wouldn't have a Christmas album. They all do. They all do it. It's crazy to me.
People kind of condemn this, but I kind of dig Taylor Swift going ape every time Travis Kelce or the Chiefs make a play. I don't know. I mean, do you find it like as a turnoff, or do you think that it makes you feel good that somebody can actually, express? I mean, unless she's the biggest fraud on the universe in the universe. Well, no, we know who that is. Gonna be president again, Lubie.
Yeah,
Gonna be president again. This guy.
I'm sure.
You see that? I mean, every poll has this. Is this believable, Lubie, that the
Polls are
American
stupid.
people are going to vote Donald Trump back in office after everything that took place?
I don't know if they're going to vote Biden. I don't know what's going to happen. I still wonder if both of those are the actual candidates come this time next year. But no, people hate him. They hated him before. They don't hate him less now. They're not like, oh yeah, the 9
But
indictments.
he become more likable all of a sudden. Yeah, you're right.
No, he didn't. These polls are bullshit. Just like the polls were before. Like after Hillary, I learned I don't give a shit about the polls.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? The poll going into the midterms, it was the Republicans are going to hold them off, and the Democrats annihilated outside of our stupid ass state. The Democrats had every election. Democrats every single election, every single one, since they fucked around with Roe versus Wade in the Supreme Court. Every election has gone left. Everyone. So yeah, but
it seems unfathomable to me. I mean, look, Biden looks like he's ready to keel over any minute now. But
I'm not running to vote for that guy, but you can't vote for him.
But yeah, I mean, if you saw, all you have to do is show the men crawling on the walls and the conviction rate of the people from the January 6th insurrection, which the Trumpster now has admitted basically that hey, I could have done something about it, but I decided to just sit on my ass.
Yep.
And let it happen because I was loving it because the people were loving me. That's what it's all about. I don't know how you could elect this man again, people, but supposedly you're leading by like 4 points over the Biden man in head-to-head polls that the Wall Street Journal was conducting.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, that's a sour note to end on. Enjoy the football games tonight, everybody. We'll have John Kajemi with us tomorrow, and John Kajemi will have the Pigskin Playbook brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, which I hope is back up and at full speed again.
It'd be nice to get there in the new year. That'd be cool to get out there when
how many years can we say we're going down there and never make an appearance? It's crazy. So we'll see you next time. We'll have the Tony Bruno Sports Network radio show coming up 10 o'clock. It's been working out a lot better. I still detect a little bit of a hitch in there, Lubie. Seems like I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how you feel about that, but it's gone well though. The last few days certainly have been a big departure from the technical impossibilities that we were facing early on. So we'll have that for you at 10 o'clock and a little morning briefing on No Filter. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Peel yourself off to Matt Money. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
Not sure we really accomplished anything there, you think? It's 8:50.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.